Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for another news update for Thursday, August 21, 2025. And I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, woman charged for harboring fugitive. A 21-year-old woman has been charged after being found in the company of one of the 9 men who escaped from the Constant Spring lockup on Tuesday, police say. Senior Superintendent of Police, Commanding Officer for the St. Catherine North Division, Hopeton Nicholson, said a targeted operation in the community of Waterloo Gardens in Spanish Town on Wednesday resulted in the recapture of Talik Chambers. Chambers was apprehended in the company of a lady who is his common-law spouse. She too was taken into custody, and sometime on Wednesday afternoon, she was questioned and charged with harboring a fugitive, Nicholson said. Chambers was one of 9 prisoners who escaped a lockup on Tuesday morning by cutting through a grill and a metal door, according to police. 8 prisoners have been recaptured since. Nicholson warned the public against harboring any escaped prisoners. Persons who escape custody are fugitives, and they should not be accommodated by friends, family, nor any well-thinking individual. If you should see any escaped prisoner or any person who has been listed as wanted, please contact the nearest police station at 311 or 119. Please do not harbor any of them, he said. Motorcyclist dies following crash in St. Elizabeth. A motorcyclist died from injuries sustained in a crash in Exton near Junction, St. Elizabeth on Tuesday night. He is yet to be identified. Reports are that about 9 o'clock, the man was riding along a roadway when he lost control of his bike, which crashed into an embankment. The bike was extensively damaged, and the rider suffered severe injuries. He was assisted to the Black River Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries. Man charged over cocaine allegedly found in car in St. Elizabeth granted $1 million bail. A man who eluded the police for over a year after fleeing a traffic stop and abandoning a car allegedly containing cocaine in Middle Quarters, St. Elizabeth, was on Wednesday granted $1 million bail with strict reporting conditions to the police. George Mackenzie, 48, a farmer of Erie Place, St. Andrew, was also ordered to surrender his travel documents, and a curfew order was imposed. Mackenzie was charged in July with dealing in cocaine, trafficking cocaine, and a conspiracy to traffic cocaine. The police said the cocaine seized had an estimated street value of $1 million. In applying for bail, his attorneys, King's Counsel Peter Champagny and Patrice Riley, challenged the police's account, arguing that Mackenzie acted out of fear for his life. They also contended that the vehicle in which the cocaine was allegedly seized had recently been loaned to someone else. Mackenzie is to return to court on September 17. The police had reported that on June 19, 2024, a Honda CR-V driven by Mackenzie was intercepted by officers during an operation in Middle Quarters, St. Elizabeth. Mackenzie allegedly abandoned the vehicle and fled the scene. A search of the vehicle uncovered 4.4 pounds of cocaine in a secret compartment, according to the police. Mackenzie was subsequently listed as wanted. After evading the police for over a year, he was apprehended in July 2025 and subsequently charged. JTA delegates force Education Minister to withdraw contentious comment. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon was forced to take back her words yesterday after a comment she made at the Jamaica Teachers Association 61st Annual Conference in Hanover provoked the wrath of the teachers. In her address to the teachers, Morris Dixon suggested that their president, Mark Malabver, had put on a performance during his inaugural presidential address on Monday night, shortly after he officially took office. I understand where President Malabver was going on Monday night, and I sat there and I took notes. and I teased out the key points. I know he is also performing for his audience, but I also took out the key things and he did very well, said Maurice Dixon. Maurice Dixon's comment did not go down well with some of the teachers who made their objection known by voicing their disapproval. However, the resentment intensified during the subsequent question and answer session, where Georgia Waugh Richards, the regional officer for the JTA's South Central Region and a past JTA president, insisted that the minister walk back the comments which she deemed uncomplimentary. I personally believe that this performance claim undermines our president's contribution to the national discourse on education, and it is my belief, Honorable Minister, that this statement might need your careful attention, said Waugh Richards. Initially, Maurice Dixon sought to explain that she was not slighting Malaver's presentation, noting that it was properly researched and included important statistics. In terms of President Malaver's speech, I did tell him, and said it very publicly, that I felt he did a lot of research for his presentation, and I did commend him on his presentation, and that remains my focus. I commend him for that research, and he did not even get to go through all of his speech because he put a lot of work into it, and you saw the data that was coming out, said Maurice Dixon. It was very rich with data, and that's what we all want. We all want to be able to come with our data and to hear it, and I thought you did a fantastic job in putting on the table. I will leave it at that. I think you did a good job, President, she said. However, her response did not sit well with the teachers, who reacted with loud cries of disapproval and demanded a retraction of her earlier comment. No, you need to apologize, some shouted, while others cried, shows the type of leader you are. Withdraw the statement. That's all we ask. Maurice Dixon seemed somewhat bemused, but graciously bowed to their demands and withdrew the statement. Okay, I just spoke to the president and got his advice, and I won't say what he just told me. But in terms of that statement around the performance, it was said in jest, and as I said before, I thought he did a well-researched presentation. And we withdraw the statement. I have withdrawn it, said Maurice Dixon. PASOJ urges government to tread carefully in public sector wage talks. The private sector organization of Jamaica is warning the government to tread carefully in wage talks with the public sector unions. It follows a thread by the Jamaica Teachers Association to take industrial action and seek legal recourse if the government does not improve its wage offer. The Ministry of Finance is planning a 4-year offer of 0% in the first year, followed by 2.5% in each of the remaining 3 years. PASOJ President Mitri Siaga said any agreement reached now will carry major consequences for whichever party forms the next government after the September 3 election.
Whilst we do need to pay our teachers better and our policemen better and our civil servants better, I think the government has made a move in the right direction for the public sector wage reclassifications and wage. The entire exercise that they went through a year or so ago or 2 years ago. And with that, we have to be very careful that we do not break the bank and harm the hard work that we have done to this point with salaries that we cannot afford. The answer to it, is not to keep paying people low wages. The answer to it is to grow the size of the economy so that teachers can be allotted more, so that policemen can be allotted more. And the only way we're going to grow the economy is if we grow it outside of Jamaica. So to Antoinette's point about developing those agro-processing plants, etc., those are the things that we have to do to get our goods and services outside of Jamaica to other people, bring their money into Jamaica. And that's how we're going to get richer as a people and be able to pay people more.
Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.